This is Siva from Goidolvi. Goidolvi is official media partner of the WordCamp Europe 2024. And we are covering lots of people from WordCamp Europe before the event also. We have talked around 8 organizers from the WordCamp Europe team. And this time we are trying to reach people from the event day. And thanks, Luca, for arranging all these kind of interview from Turin, because we are hosting this interview from Kathmandu, Nepal, and we are talking to Turin. And yes, let's start with your introduction. And I have also found your topic is very interesting to the WordCamps. And can you also share something about your key point about your topic? Start with your introduction.
Okay, so I'm Stefano Minoia. I am an accessibility specialist and front-end and WordPress developer. And at this WordCamp Europe, I will be speaking about accessible presentations for WordPress meetups and WordCamps, which is something I find really interesting, because it's a presentation I never gave, because I usually talk more about the technical aspects of accessibility or how to make your website accessible. But I think it's important also for events to allow also people with disabilities to participate in them and be able to attend and take the most out of presentations. And the burden, I would say, of this stays mainly on the speakers and on the organizers of the events. And there are just a few things that, if made well, can just improve a lot the experience also for people with disabilities. So this is going to be the focus of my presentation. A short one. I could not tell everything I know about that, but it's just a lightning talk. But I think at least would just make people more curious about the topic and allow them to get more into this topic and learn something new.
Yeah. When I was in WordCamp Osaka in 2018 or 19, there are lots of Japanese people are presenting their topic on WordCamp Osaka, and I was from Nepal, and I couldn't understand. And they gave me a update for the translation of that presentation. A speaker convey their topics on stage, and a translator was just translated that session also. That is also kind of, I think that is also kind of accessibility, right?
It's of course accessibility. So making the presentation, at least I'm not translation, because that it's more about internationalization. But for example, having subtitles, that definitely is something that is required for accessibility, also for live presentations.
Yeah, also for the presentation. So you are your background is a designer or more inclined in developer?
I'm more on the developer side, actually. So I like also to play with code, to dive into code. So this is my background. I started coding websites since I was 15, something like that. And when I rediscovered WordPress a few years ago, I just get into the community and found this amazing place, and this place where there really is the possibility of making the difference for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we can talk about the development factor also for this conversation. We have pointed a list of 5 points from the WordPress, and we are going to rank based on that point. It's completely depend on your experience, your opinion. It's not about the fact and development cycle and other things, change log or future plan or WordPress project. It's completely based on your opinion and your experience. Starting with the first point. The first point is ease of use. How easy it is to build a website or manage a website. After building a website, we need to manage that also. How do you rank from 1 to 10? The 1 is very difficult and 10 is very easy. How do you give your...
Well, okay, well, I'll give you my opinion, my personal opinion, and my opinion as an accessibility specialist. So my personal opinion is that it's actually very easy to build websites using WordPress. So my rank would be 9 out of 10. As to the easiness of using WordPress, the only thing that I actually have a few points of discussion, I would say, it's just about the speed the speed of development of Gutenberg and staying up to date with all the changes of the block editor. So this is something that, of course, requires you to keep constantly up to date. And if, for example, you miss something, it would be it would require you a little time to catch up. In my experience,
yeah, please continue.
Sorry, in my experience as an accessibility specialist, I also want to describe you the easiness of building websites for people with disabilities. I mean, people with disabilities using WordPress to build their websites. And here I would say it's a 7 out of 10. Because of course there is a lot of attention for the needs of people with disabilities. I have been the team rep for the WordPress accessibility team in WordPress, and I know the effort that there's behind making WordPress as accessible as possible, and I know a lot of people with disabilities are able to build their own websites using WordPress. So I would say it is, of course, accessible, and also the easiness, it's easy enough also for them to use it. Still, there are even more, I would say, difficulties in what they have to do to just build their website, build a website. And here we can probably just do a little better. But, you know, I think it's already a very good starting point. And I would suggest also for people with disabilities using WordPress as a starting base.
Yeah. So you are giving 7 for that.
7 out of 10 on that.
For the easiness.
From their perspective, my personal perspective, 9 out of 10.
Yeah. It's a kind of accessibility thing, because for the normal people there are internationalization things, and there is an easy access button and other things who are normal and who can build a website with the code. This is a very easy platform. But for the people who need that really accessible, that need to be worked. Thank you. That part is also very helpful for the analysis of development of WordPress also. Okay, let's jump into the customization and flexibility question. Like, how do you rate the customization and flexibility of WordPress in terms of themes, plugins, and design option? Like, you can talk about the page builder, drag and drop, publishing, creating website, or again, updating it. How do you rate?
I would rate that 10 out of 10, definitely. Because I think that's the main point about WordPress and what it makes it apart from other CMSs. Because definitely the how the website is built and the structure and how you can customize it, creating plugins, for example, to create custom post types or custom fields. I think it's very easy, very flexible, and it allows you to create whatever you want. So if you just want to create a plugin for a custom post type, where you just want to be sure that every kind of information is inserted in a certain way, so that the output, I'm always getting back to accessibility because that's my main focus. But if you want to make sure that the output is built in a certain way, you can just use create custom fields for that, and just people fill in, and you just have a total control of the output on one side. On the other side, it's really flexible, because with custom fields and custom post types, you can just create basically everything. And of course, adding on top of that the easiness of creating websites using the block editor, I think it really adds up to all that and to its flexibility, and also allowing people who are not very familiar with coding to create their own website, but also, on a certain point of view, also the possibility of getting to know how to code websites using the block editor, just creating blocks, and then getting to know how you create them and how you can just put that information in a theme.json file. And it's very easy, very flexible, very customizable. I think that's it's really hard to find something that is so easy to use for new users and with a very low learning curve.
While talking about the block customization, don't you find that is difficult than the before the programming like we do in WordPress for the customization of block, like you are customizing the block of WooCommerce or you are customizing the block of other things. Don't you find that
So
is
using I find it different, but it changes the burden, I think. I think before, from a certain point of view, developers were more capable of creating their own things and customizing them and creating something that worked for them, and also were able to experiment. Now it's different. From a different point of view. I think it's more standard, and in that way, I'd say you can still create everything, but you have a few limitations that, for example, allow you not to just to be sure that you are not making mistakes also, which is also important from my point of view. As always, from the accessibility point of view, it's very important to have a consistent output. If you use standard blocks or blocks that have been tested, that you know that the output works, for example, you are sure that in the front end, what users will see, it's something that is actually accessible. And you do not have to recode everything from scratches or to recreate the wheel, basically, which is something that I find really interesting also in in creating, for example, themes using Gutenberg.
Yeah. That is also a great part because the standard block will have the standard markup that is really helpful for the SEO perspective also, and the accessibility things also, and other things also. That points matter. Okay, and talking about the e-commerce capability of the WordPress, like building with WooCommerce or having subscription type of website or running AdSense or other this kind of e-commerce thing, how would you rate your experience using WordPress for the e-commerce, including setting up online store or getting the analytics of that sales or something related to the e-commerce? How do you do it?
I'd say it's really hard for me to answer on that point because I am not really very experienced using creating e-commerces using WordPress. Because when I started working with websites, when I started working and developing, I started using also another CMS, which is PrestaShop, which is specifically focused on e-commerce. And this is what I have been using much more than WordPress. So honestly, I do not have a real opinion on how to use WordPress to create e-commerces, because I have no big experience with doing that. So honestly, it would be I prefer not to give you a rate, because it would not be fair. It would be of no value actually on this point.
Yeah. That we are collecting opinion based on our experience, and we can just skip this part because two of our guests has skipped this part. Because e-commerce is not also not much popular, but not that bigger for the WordPress. Okay, let's running to the next point, like learning and community support. How do you rate the availability and quality of learning resources? Like you need to focus on quality also. You need to find the best solution and best solution, or YouTube video like, or WordPress videos, and WordCamps, meetup topics, and that can also help us to learn about the WordPress. How do you rate this factor of WordPress?
Well, even in that, also in this case, I would say it's a 10 out of 10. And I'll start from the community, because I think the biggest thing in favor of WordPress, it's definitely its community.
Yeah.
You just get to know. I was arriving at the venue today for WordCamp Europe, and I was just smiling. And it was just because I knew I was going to meeting old friends, making new friends, learning from other contributors, helping new contributors to make their own way in using WordPress. I think it's just a family. It's just a family reunion. WordCamps are just family reunions, in my opinion. And the power of community behind WordPress, what makes it really different from a lot of other communities from other communities I met. And this is really important also. I'm related to this, the learning experience. Of course, I think there are a lot of resources that were built inside the community for people to learn how to use WordPress. I think that a lot of resources, for example, for developers that you can find, I think that developer resources to learn how to build a theme, how to create a block, how to create a plugin. There are tons of videos on WordPress TV that you can just go and see to learn everything that you can see at meetups or WordCamps all around the world, even if you are not able to attend in person, which has, if possible, I would still suggest, because in attending WordCamps in person allow you to meet people in person, to network, which is what makes the difference, actually, because it's all about people. And the WordPress community is built up by people contributing to WordPress. And also the learn.wordpress.org website, I think it's a very great idea for people to learn how to use WordPress at all levels, whether it is how to choose a plugin, how to install a plugin, up to how to create a block theme. I think there are resources that can be useful for everyone, whichever their starting level. And I think it's a great effort that the community decided to work on. And I'm really happy that such a project started a few years ago.
The community aspect of WordPress will always get in, but for the learning things like Justin is working for the block theme codex and other things, and he's doing very great, and he's doing it from I guess 1 year or more time. We need more people on that because WordPress is going very fast, and we need that codex as soon as possible, because lots of people are just complaining about where is the code, where is the thing that we can apply to customize the block theme and other things also. We're doing, but that part maybe improved with a bunch of people, not from the single people and single person and other things. That is also my opinion. No problem. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the adaptability to new technology of WordPress. Sometimes ago, mobile first design was introduced by the Google and other search engine giants, and we just adapt that part also. And these days, the AI is just making a noise to the community, and data processing and other thing, and data analytics and modern design tools like um, uh, building website like Wix and other things. Also, the experience experiencing the easiness in building of WordPress is also needed. How do you rank that kind of adaptability to new technology for the WordPress?
Well, I would say 8 out of 10. And I'm going to explain that. I think there are a few technologies where WordPress is actually at the edge of. Specifically, I'm thinking about, I'm very passionate with CSS, talking about web development. And, I was very interested in finding out how fluid typography works, because it was something that was implemented using Gutenberg, saying, okay, this is going to be how websites and how typography is going to be managed in the future.
Yeah.
Actually, I attended a conference a few months ago about it, and I asked, it was a conference for developers, not WordPress developers, but WordPress developers in general. How many of you have experimented using with fluid typography? And I think it was just one person out of 20 who raised their hands. So I think it's something that's really on the edge. And knowing that WordPress is incorporating such a technique, which is very modern, I would say, a very modern way to treat typography, I think that it already says that the WordPress, even if it's an old project, because it's been around for more than 20 years, but still it tries to incorporate new technologies, and this continues to make up to its usability even today. And related to that, also to other things that, and this relates, I think, to other topics in technology. So I don't know really how we are going to incorporate artificial intelligence in WordPress. At least it's not something that I have already tried to figure out, but I'm sure that just like every other aspect of digital world is being changed by artificial intelligence, also WordPress is going to incorporate that somehow.
That's bad.
That said, I think that still there is a very, I would say, solid base on code that has been built lots of years ago. And still there are a few things that might be improved from, I'd say, coding standards or best practices, which are modern, for example, PHP practices for developing, and which we still have to incorporate in WordPress. I think that keeping, for example, working with older PHP versions, it's something that WordPress still has to work on. But, just like everything, I think that we'll arrive at a certain point where we'll be able to stay up to date and show really the world that WordPress is a viable solution for even for building modern websites.
Yeah. PHP is also improving. There is speed and optimization. That thing also need to be addressed with the WordPress core. And yes, theme like blog theme these days are like without of code. Like that is also a kind of a great improvement from the WordPress. Like that they are running from the core. That is the standard code. That is also great. Okay. Let's come to the final factor for the WordPress, as per your experience, is about your overall satisfaction to the project. And it's how satisfied are you with your experience using WordPress for your project and for your business, for your other things? How satisfied you are?
I'd say it's a 9 out of 10. I think it's my standard solution to go by when I have to work with a new customer, or it happens often. It happens that people comes to me and say that they want a WordPress website, or it happens that people say, okay, I want a website, but I want to be able to make changes myself. And WordPress, on that point of view, is definitely something that allows you to solve this kind of issue, this kind of request. It's not an issue, but it's people requesting to making their own edits to their websites. I think it's their websites. Even if you built it, even if you create the design, even if you code it, in the end, it's up to the customer to take care of it. And WordPress, in that sense, really allows users, even with little to no experience, to get their way through building their own websites. Websites which fits their needs and mirrors their owner, which I think it's really important, because you have just to give customers what it's useful for them. And WordPress does not require big knowledge of code, at least unless you want to go really deep dive into WordPress and how it works. And it gives customers flexibility. So it's definitely something that it's really useful. And I think that statistics about WordPress usage shows that.
Okay. So how long you are using WordPress? How long you have been using this platform?
I think it's about 7 years.
About
So
7.
I think it's, if I look back at when I started, I'd say, okay, it's not a long time that I've been using WordPress, but now I can say
a long time.
so it's starting to be a few times that I've been using it. So it starts to be a deep. I start to have a good knowledge of WordPress and how to use it, and what are its advantages.
Because the 7 years of experience is a big experience to using a single tool. Like you may have also seen the theme option in the theme bundle. Have you seen that theme option before the customizer came?
Oh yes, yeah. I wasn't before the customizer. No, actually not. I'm not at all into the WordPress WordPress community. So I started with the customizer. Then it was already when I joined the community. Gutenberg was already in their early stages of development.
Yeah.
So it was just going to be something that would have been merged into WordPress. I think the first version of WordPress I worked with was WordPress 4.7, something like that.
From 4.8, they had just added Gutenberg compatibility.
Can be.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember updating a website from version 3.7 to version 4.7. That's how I remember that.
Yeah. That is also a kind of long experience, and thank you for sharing your experience, your opinion to the point that we arise for the soft analysis of development of WordPress. Like this can be of fruitful for other people also, other WordCamp organizer or WordCamp contributor, or some people who look at this video. They can also get some kind of insight or knowledge for them also. This is also helpful for our junior team or other people also. Thank you so much for being the part of this community, and thank you so much for being a part of this show also.
It was a pleasure. It was really a pleasure.